Likewise, when you do ghiba, the person who you are doing ghiba about cannot defend themselves. How many times in the community when someone has died, when you bring mention of them, the people say, don't say anything, he's dead now. We can't say anything anymore because he can't defend himself. Likewise, Allah compared ghiba towards the dead because the dead can't defend themselves. In the same way, when you do ghiba about someone, they cannot defend themselves. Number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared ghiba towards the eating of the dead. Why? Because when you eat a dead body, your body becomes full of a sickness. It becomes full of a disease. Likewise, those who perform ghiba become people whose souls are full of diseases. Notice that when you come to eat a dead body, all the acids and all the blood and all the poisonous gases that you eat of a dead body, they all start coming into your own body. Your body becomes physically very sick. You become a body full of diseases. Likewise, Allah said that when you do ghiba of a fellow brother, now it is not a body which is full of diseases, it is a soul which is full of diseases. Number 5, Allah compared it towards eating your dead brother's body. Why? Because when a human eats a dead brother's body, they become the center of disease. Not only is their body full of disease, they actually become a center of disease, that people do not want to go near them. People don't want to sit around them because their body is full of disease. Likewise, a person who does ghiba, his soul becomes the center of diseases. That when people sit around him, suddenly people start being less attracted towards that person. Because whenever they sit next to him, they find that the only thing that comes out of him is the bad of the people, not the good of the people. Number 6, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is a very important point, compared ghiba towards eating your dead brother's flesh. Why? Because there are certain times where you are allowed to eat a dead body, and there are certain times where you are allowed to perform ghiba. Understand this point? That there are certain times in our life where we are allowed to eat a dead body. For example, if I am alone in a desert and there is nothing for me to eat whatsoever, and what I have is nothing, the only thing that I see is a dead body. Can I eat it? Yes, I can, because this is in a life and death situation. Likewise, in the religion of Islam, although ghiba in most cases is not allowed, there are some cases where ghiba is even wajib, and I will come to those cases in a moment. Number 7, why does Allah compare ghiba towards the eating of a dead body? It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show us something very important. That as time has gone on, eating a dead body has been seen as something very low. That many people in the human world today do not eat the dead bodies because their intellects have risen and risen into knowing that eating the dead body is something very low. Yet Allah wanted to show us that if you know how well your community has progressed, or you want to know how well your community has progressed, then look at the way they treat ghiba. If they treat ghiba as something normal, then they are the lowest of people. Because while the rest of humanity has noticed that eating a dead body is something very low, there are some people who have not noticed that doing ghiba is something very low. If you want to know how well a community is doing, let your barometer be eating the dead body. Because the whole world today believes that eating a dead body is something forbidden and something detested. Yet the Muslim world in comparison feels that ghiba is something normal. Therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these 7 suggestions within this one verse. And that's why when you came to the area of ghiba, you found that some of the ahadith of Ahlul Bayt about ghiba make a person shiver in their place and wonder about the ghiba that they've done. For example, our holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has a hadith where he states that ghiba is worse than adultery. Ghiba is worse than adultery. Why? He states, because I am willing to forgive a person who commits adultery, But I am never willing to forgive a person who commits ghiba. A person who commits ghiba has to be forgiven by the people he did ghiba on. Imagine this idea. Rasulullah said, my Lord said to me, I am willing to forgive adultery, but I will never forgive ghiba. Ghiba can only be forgiven by the people you have backbitten. Therefore you find in one instance Rasulullah states that the worst type of income is when a person earns his income with 1 dirham of interest. And he said interest is worse than adultery. So then someone said to me, Ya Rasulullah, what's the worst type of interest? He said the worst type of interest is when a person backbites his brother in faith. Therefore the first hadith was what? That ghiba is worse than adultery. Then the second hadith of Rasulullah when he states, ghiba affects what? Ghiba affects the religion of a person faster than leprosy affects the body of the human being. Ghiba affects the religion of a person faster than leprosy affects the body of the human being. Because when you see leprosy, leprosy is one of those diseases that it takes a miracle to cure. That's why one of the miracles of Prophet Jesus is what? Is that he was able to cure the blind and the leper. In his time, the people could not believe that anyone would be able to cure a person with leprosy. Whereas Nabi Isa was able to cure the blind and he was able to cure the leper. Rasulullah said, ghiba affects a person's religion faster than leprosy affects the human body. Imagine that. Because when you begin to continuously speak bad things about people, you will begin to notice that your approach to life is very pessimistic. You always look down at others rather than praising people. That's why the third hadith Rasulullah has about ghiba is a beautiful one. He comes forward and he says that ghiba affects a person's religion. And ghiba does away with the good deeds of a person faster than fire does away with wood. Imagine. Ghiba does away with the good deeds of a person faster than fire does away with wood. Bring some wood and then put fire on it and see how they become ash straight away. Yet look at ghiba, it does away with your good deeds faster than even fire does away with wood. Why? There is a hadith which tells us on the day of judgment, when we come, a person comes with his good deeds and another person comes with his bad. All of a sudden, the person who had come with his good deeds sees that his good deeds have become bad. And the one who has come with his bad deeds sees that his bad deeds have become good. The one with the bad deeds asks, how comes my bad deeds have become good? The reply was, because of that person who done ghiba behind your back. Because that person has transferred all his good deeds towards you. That's why when sometimes people tell us people are doing ghiba about you, we say, Alhamdulillah, their thawab is coming on my shoulders. That's when a person does ghiba, he is doing away with his good deeds quicker than fire does away with wood. And that's why when you come towards the analysis of ghiba, people do ghiba for different things. That we find, unfortunately, our communities are breaking because of backbiting. Sometimes a person does ghiba because they feel they are religiously superior to everyone else. You find some people, they will say, so-and-so Maulana over there, he never does a good job. And I do not see why people go towards that person. There is a hadith of our Holy Prophet, he says that on the day of judgment, there is a person who will come, his name is Dhul Lisanain, the man of the two tongues.